Branding Hub, the channel is for the quality control engineer, site engineer, and the civil engineer who are working in the construction field. In this channel, we are dealing with anything and everything which is required to get success in the construction. Now, what is success? Success is project success as well as our people, that means civil engineer, site engineer who are working their success also. Ultimately you are working for our career also, so how to get success in the career, that also we are discussing in these channels. But what is today's topic? Today's topic is for the concreting. It's important terms of concreting, that is a curing. Now there are different types of curing we have. So what type of concrete curing we will use, and when to start, and how long it will be done, and what is the factor deciding the curing, that I will discuss each and everything in today's video. So stay tuned until then to get the full information. And if you are new in my channel, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get immediate notification. First, you need to know what is concrete curing. So we have that concept that after concreting, we have to do the water ponding, water spraying is all that. But why curing is required? See, what is required? The concrete chemistry you have to know to before the why curing is required. So what is the concrete chemistry? Concrete chemistry is simple. When you are adding water into the mix, the water and the cement start reacting to each other. Now this process is called hydration of cement, and when this process is there, so we are getting the strength of the concrete. Now to happen this work normally and independently and ideally, we need some prerequisites, just like the temperature, just like the water pressure or water, that means the moisture of the concrete and the relative humidity, that are all the factors. So curing is that maintaining that situation, not only the moisture but also the temperature also. So what is happening? See, we are adding water and that water into the pores is there. So if the concrete surface is open to the sky, so what is happening? It's become dry, and it's the possibility that the moisture can run through the surface. So both way this is harmful, one from the strength, another for the durability. Why? Because in the strength, if there water loss is there, that means there will be less water to react with the concrete cement. So the CSA gel formation will be less, and the strength gain will be less. And what is the durability concern? The durability concern, when this water will evaporate from the surface, there will be a crack generate. And when this crack will generate, from that crack, chloride ion, sulfate ion, carbon dioxide, water, that are all will penetrate inside the concrete. Now, if these are coming together into the concrete, what will happen? The concrete will start disintegrate, and corrosion of steel will happen. So the durability is a concern. So that is why curing is most important. Now we need to know what is called curing, because we need to know the definition of curing. The curing can be described as the process of maintaining a satisfactory moisture content and a favorable temperature in concrete during the period immediately following placement. See, the temperature and the moisture content. So this will help to gain the strength. So that is why we need to maintain the temperature as well as the moisture relative humidity condition. So how to maintain that one? That is a curing, and there are different method. But before that, you need to know how to select what will be our curing this method. Concrete it is in nomogram. See, in the nomogram you can see the graph is here, it is showing the air temperature, here it is saying the relative humidity, here it is saying concrete placement temperature, here is the wind velocity, and here is the rate of evaporation. That means we need to calculate what is the rate of evaporation from the concrete, and accordingly we have to decide whether my concrete is required concrete curing immediately, or when we can stop the curing. So here you can see air temperature. If you see, the air temperature is in between 15 and 20 is coming in with this, and this relative humidity is about for 50%. And from that you can come down in this graph, and here you can find out the concrete placement temperature. And from that, if you coming down here, the wind velocity, and here it is coming below 1 kg per meter square per hour is the rate of evaporation. But why I'm saying 1? Because this is the benchmark. If it is going beyond 1 kilometer, or it is more than 1 kg per meter square per hour, then concrete disintegrate. That means cracks will generate, and there will be less of moisture inside the concrete to work with the cement. So we have to calculate what will be my rate of evaporation when I am placing the concrete at the site. Depending on that, we have to decide what type of curing method we have to apply, and when to start the curing and when to stop the curing, because this is the benchmark. This one, if it is going beyond it, it is recommended that you should take precaution, or you should have to stop the working, whatever as per the condition. But below that, you can do the concrete and you have to take the immediate reaction. So this nomogram is very much important. Keep it with you all people, that you can find out what is the rate of evaporation, and according to the rate of evaporation you have to take precaution. Maybe you have to erect temporary windbreaker so that wind will not come, so that evaporation rate will be less. So there are different other method that we'll discuss another day, but today is about the curing. So curing, you need to know what is the rate of evaporation. So from that graph you can easily find out what is the rate of evaporation. Now the question is coming, when to start concrete and how long to cure, because before that we need to know what is the factor that are deciding the curing. It is not as simple that after 2 hours we have to start the concrete, or after 7 days we have to close the curing. No, it's not as simple as that. It depends on certain factors. So what are the factors? The factors is temperature, ambient temperature as well as the concrete temperature, relative humidity, wind velocity. So these are already discussed with the nomogram, that if these three parameter has changed, rate of evaporation has changed. So if the rate of evaporation has changed, what we need to know, we need to include the concrete curing in a different way, in a different manner. So these three is very huge. But then type of cement. Why type of cement? Because every cement is not reacting in the same way with the concrete. There are different types of concrete, and we are using supplementary cementitious material also. So how they will react with the cement, water, and how they will produce heat. So that is defining how fast they are working. So that is also deciding the curing factor. Then fineness of cement, all you know, the more fine cement, more reaction rate. So that is also decided when to start the concrete. Then water cement ratio, nothing to discuss. Then size of member. If the member size is more, then it will be considered as mass concrete. And if it is a mass concrete, there are different types of precaution you have to take. So I have made a detailed video about this mass concrete. This in the description you can find out the link. Watch that one, you will get full information about the size of member of the mass concrete. So these are the defining factor. So if you are going to the site, it's just simply it's happening, uh, कंक्रीट हो गया, चलो 2 घंटा हो गया, इसको स्टार्ट करो कंक्रीट का, क्योंकि 2 घंटा हमारा वो जो टाइम है, इन इनिशियल सेटिंग टाइम, तो 2 घंटे में स्टार्ट कर देना। बट इट इज़ नॉट राइट एज वेल, because these are all the factor you have to decide, and according to this factor you have to calculate the rate of evaporation, and accordingly you need to start the curing. It is coming when to start the concrete. See, again I am saying, this has no hard and fast rule. This has to decide at the project base to base, case to case, and has to observe that the top surface of concrete should not be allowed to dry. This is the main criteria. So if it is start drying, you have to start curing immediately. There is no other option. But you have to keep all the factor what I discussed, that every factor is important and essential for the curing. So when to start the curing, it is not so easy, but at the site you have to keep an eye that there will be no concrete should be start drying. And curing at point is a general practice that concrete must be cured till it attains about 70% of specified strength. But that is also, it's a general guidelines, but again it will case to case it will be varied, because if you are using the supplementary cementitious material, the 70% strength will be not 7 days, maybe 8 days, 10 days, 12 days. So accordingly you have to prepare for your curing plan. So there is no hard and fast rule, but this is the general guidelines. Now, what are the different types of curing method we are using? See, there are 4 types of curing method we are using. There is a water curing, a membrane curing or the chemical curing, application heat, and the miscellaneous concrete. So one by one, I will record what is that. Now, on the water curing, all we know this one. This is the common type of concrete and widely used, that using water we are making concrete curing. But that has also four types of curing method. That is the immersion method, that is precast concrete immerse in the curing tank, and that is after concreting we will immerse the full concrete element into the curing tank and it is curing. Just like you are using concrete cubes, that is the immersion type water curing. There's ponding type water curing, this pavement slab and roof slab. All we know that after doing that we are making bond about around the slab and we are ponding that one for the curing. That's called the water curing but ponding type. Then spraying or fogging, in the vertical element it is not possible to do the ponding, so that is why we are spraying water or the fogging water. And then wet curing covered with gunny bag Hessian cloth, and time to time wear that sprinkling water so that it can keep moist. So these are the four types of water
Coming
curing. Membrane curing or the chemical curing. So membrane curing is the instead of water we are using chemical on cover in the top or the surface of the concrete so that it can retain moisture inside the concrete itself, so it will not pass out the moisture to the environment. So the same purpose the water curing also, that the moisture should not evaporate from the concrete itself. So the same method, same application, that is resin and wax based. So there are four types: synthetic resin, wax, acrylic, and chlorinated rubber. So resin and wax based curing compound seals the concrete surface effectively. With time their efficiency will get reduces and it all about 28 days they get disintegrate and peel off. Now why I'm telling you this? So there are certain factors you have to consider before selecting any chemical curing, because you are directly applying on the concrete surface. So it may start to react with the concrete. So two things, that the compatibility and the reaction. So what will be the reaction that you have to consider before selecting the curing compound. So this is very much important. And also you are using on the surface, and if you need to plaster or any finishing item on the concrete, this chemical should be peel off with the time. Otherwise you have to apply the hot water or any other means to remove that one, so again it will cost extra. So that also you need to keep in mind when you are about selecting the chemical curing or the membrane curing. There is synthetic and wax, and then acrylic. Acrylic based membrane forming curing compound has additional advantage to having better addition of subsequent plaster. So it has, but it is not that we are using for that purpose. Our purpose is to retain the moisture. So again you have to check what is the moisture retaining properties of that chemical whatever you are using on the concrete surface, and it should not react with the concrete. So acrylic type also, and then chlorinated rubber. The chlorinated rubber curing compounds not only form a thin film that protects the concrete from drying out but also fill the minute pores in the concrete surface. So again this is another advantage. But these are the four types of membrane
next is the
curing, heat curing. So water curing I have discussed, membrane curing I discussed. Now it's coming the heat curing. Now heat curing is steam curing, all you know, but there is also heat curing is four types: steam curing at ordinary pressure, steam curing at high pressure, curing by infrared radiation, and electrical curing. Now the steam curing, what that is, we are applying the heat. Now why heat we are applying? See, whenever we are applying heat, that means it is accelerating the hydration process. So what is happening, we are gaining the strength immediately. So when is the strength gain criteria is more, we have to apply the heat curing, that is a steam curing. So what I use that one, that is a precast concrete girder, railway sleeper, etc. This is all our steam curing. So after in the production we have to do the steam curing. So within 24 hours or as per the design it is gaining strength, and again we can start the recasting of the membrane. So here is a catch, that we cannot immediately increase the water, increase the temperature. See, there is a from delay period, then the heating period, then the maximum temperature period, then the cooling period. So in delay period we are not increasing the heat. So if we see another thing you have to take precaution that whenever you are increasing heat, it has the tendency that the moisture can lose from the concrete itself. So that is why you have to supply the steam continuously. Otherwise, what is happen? The relative humidity will be less and the moisture will lose from the concrete. So that purpose also you have to take care, and you have to design that one. It is not like that you will do the steam curing like this. So it has to design as per the design criteria. But the theory is that you have some delay period, and then you have to gradually increase the heat, and again that you have to maintain the maximum period, and again you have to gradually decrease the heat. So this graph you have to maintain whenever you are doing steam curing and the ordinary pressure. So where you can use precast prestress girder and the railway sleeper. Then another type is steam curing and high pressure. Now the before it is the ordinary pressure. Now high pressure steam curing concrete is subject to a maximum temperature of about 175 degrees centigrade, which corresponds to a steam pressure of about 8.5 kg per centimeter square. So where we are using that one in this process is called the autoclave, and all we know the IAC block, this autoclave aerated blocks. So lightweight concrete products are used cured by this way, that called the autoclave curing at ordinary pressure, steam curing at high pressure. Now curing by infrared radiation, it is not widely used in India, but it is used in the very cold region in Russia. But this is also one type of curing method that I am discussing. And electrical curing, that is also very in cold climate, that is the heat is producing by either infrared or in the electric. So that is using in the very cold region. We are not familiar with these two types of curing, but that is also the another type of curing, that is why I am mentioning here. So this is become the application of heat. So another type is miscellaneous. Now what is the miscellaneous? We are using calcium chloride at surface coating. So another type of, you can say, chemical curing, but it's a miscellaneous curing. We are using calcium chloride at surface, or we can use calcium chloride as admixture. But what is the dose? You have to design that one. What is the application rate? That is also you have to design, because that precaution should be taken whenever you are doing any membrane curing, that every minute spore or area should be covered it. So that means vertical ones, one coat, horizontal one coat, and if you require more coat, that you have to apply. So that you have to ensure. You should not just keep it onto the worker that हो गया भाई चलता है ना. No, you have to check. My personally, so there will be no voids in the surface whenever you are dealing with the chemical curing or the membrane curing. And another type is keep formwork and work sealing. So when we are keeping formwork, so maybe the mass concrete where we have to keep because the heat generation. So what is happened? We are sealing the joint by wax. So what is happened? What is the moisture and what is the temperature is producing inside the concrete, that is circulated inside the concrete itself, and it's making an adiabatic condition, so that heat loss or the moisture loss is very less. So concrete can gain the strength and durability can be ensured. So this type of concrete curing is also here in the India. But what we discussed today what is curing and how the rate of evaporation we can measure, and when to start the curing and how long to cure, and curing start point, curing end point, what are the different types of curing method, and water curing, membrane curing, heat curing, and miscellaneous. So I hope you find it useful, and if you find it useful, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon, so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get immediate notification. And I'm waiting for your valuable comments, so that from your comment everybody will be benefited. And if you want to know anything more about quality control and construction, please let me know. I will come with more content like this. And thank you once again for watching me.